Now, obviously, if you hadn't seen the game, this would be very strange to see during a pandemic. People are heckling. Most arenas aren't even having fans in there.
Yeah.
But nope, they managed to get ejected. 4 fans actually managed to get ejected from the arena. One woman was seen, there she is, pulling down her mask because I guess she felt like people couldn't hear her when she was yelling at LeBron. And it was quite the spectacle.
Now, Housewives of Atlanta, some of the people there, are they cast members or something?
I don't know. I've never seen or heard of her a day in my life.
She was feeling it, though. She was very... Now, whose fault is this? Who do we got to blame?
Well, look, I think that hecklers are ridiculous in any kind of space.
Yeah.
Hecklers. No, fans, you can boo, you can yell, whatever. But when it comes to a place where the referees feel the need to throw you out, you've now passed into heckler, which is obnoxious. Literally no one, despite what she may think, has showed up to this game to see her.
Yeah, she was paying, and all her friends, to watch LeBron perform.
Right.
He wasn't paying for her to be there.
No.
So when you go to a game, nobody cares about you.
No one.
Like, you're the heckler. She's feeling herself here. She is feeling herself. Nobody's there to see you.
Not one person.
Not one person.
Not one single person came to the game.
I know you got courtside seats, so you are special tonight, but nobody cares about you.
No, I find it ridiculous, but what commenced afterwards is what really was what put it over the top for me. Like, people get thrown out of games all the time, and you and I have talked about this before. Like, hecklers are the worst. It's obnoxious for everyone around you. You're literally the worst. You're the worst. You think you're the coolest. You're the opposite. You're the worst. But when it comes to, like, player safety, you remember the guy that, like, came on the court after Russell Westbrook.
Weird.
Like, it's insane because people are crazy. Like, what are you supposed to do in that spot? And I thought Westbrook actually handled it really well, because if he'd have honestly put his hands on him, I wouldn't have felt bad for this guy at all.
And also, you have to remember is that more than any sport, hockey fans, there's a shield.
Right.
NFL fans, there's distance. Baseball fans, there's often a lot of distance. In the NBA, there's about 40 seats that are courtside, and the players do recognize you. I've said this. I do courtside maybe once a year.
Right.
And I can always tell the players look by, and they're like, LeBron talked to me.
It's
Chris
very
Paul.
intimate.
It's very intimate. And by the way, it's such an honor to sit courtside that I tend to be more vocal courtside because I know the players can hear me. And I'll say occasionally something like funny.
But you're not heckling them.
No.
You're never going to allow it to get to a space where you're tossed from the game in a theatric way. This is absurd.
I always think there's something. I've said this about trolls. If you're on the internet trolling people, is it possible? I'm not saying this about these people, but when you're on the internet trolling people, it's a little bit of a mental health issue, right? Like, would you ever do that?
I am a very busy person. The mentality that I would the idea that I would take time out of my day to make an account, let alone sit there and type things to a stranger. No, I have many things to do. I have goals, aspirations.
I think it's a mental health issue.
I would not be sitting here across from you if I had that kind of mentality. I find it literally
bizarre,
wild. Yes, but what she said afterwards is the troll part. Look, as someone who may or may not have thrown hands before, multiple times, I find it egregious that she's saying she's going to bleep LeBron up.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God.
Honey, get your life together. He's a 6'8", 260-pound man. And I also do not like the visual of this white girl calling LeBron the B word, and I'm going to bleep you up. It just,
God.
None of this.
Yeah.
Have a seat courtside, Karen, but not in the building because you're not allowed in.
Thank you.
Deshaun Watson has made it clear that he wants to be traded from the Texans. There have been plenty of reports about how unhappy he is with the organization. And Brett Favre doesn't think this is the way that Watson should be handling the situation.
Kind of old school. I think you get paid a ton of money to do a certain job, and just do it and let the chips fall where they may. I think we make too much money to voice an opinion, but I'm not saying he's wrong. I think it's a different day and time, and it'll be interesting to see how the organization handles it.
Didn't Brett retire and then unretire and hold the Packers and multiple teams hostage while he decided what he was doing?
I generally agree that go play and just do it. But I do believe I think what's happened in Houston is cultish. And I think Deshaun Watson was lied to. So I always support mobility for players when the contract is up. I've always supported athletes. I've been mobile.
The franchise tag is ridiculous as well.
But I think what you have here, let's be honest about it. It's not common. It's rare. We have a pastor running the team. They don't know what they're doing. The owner and the former pastor who now runs it have a relationship which turns off many in the building. They could literally not find a coach. So sometimes there are situations in life that are just rare, and I see it differently. Overwhelmingly, I'm like, go play for your team and do it. But I understand Joe Burrow, if he'd have come out and said, I won't play for them.
Right.
As long as the NFL has the franchise tag and the owners win that and they have it, then I'm going to support players in dysfunctional areas who feel trapped. And I think Deshaun simply feels lied to and trapped in a ridiculous cultish organization.
All of that is true. I also do find it a little ironic that it's coming from Brett Favre and that, he didn't do the exact same thing, but you asserted your will when you wanted to in your own way.
He was needy.
Right. But I agree with you. This is an outlier situation with Deshaun Watson. And it's also, Deshaun has built up a lot of leverage with the community, with fans around the league, and that he's not only a great player, but also a great person. And he's not somebody that is drama. Like every single year he's asking for something different. So this is not a situation where he's doing it the way that Harden did it. Like he's not showing up, and he's actually saying he's going to show up. He just wants to be in a situation where he has an opportunity to win. And the Texans, I believe that organizations have an obligation to put the best product out there for the decisions that they make in the same way that players do. Like what the Houston Texans have done at the top levels is absurd. Nobody would want to be in this situation, and all kinds of players are coming out and saying that they support him. I'm with you. An outlier situation is what this is, and he deserves to be able to assert his leverage. I don't care about the fact that he signed a contract. This situation is absurd. It's a pastor running the team.
It's come on. I mean, I'm not saying everybody's going to get the Chiefs situation where you get a great GM and a Hall of Fame coach and a great Hunt family. That's rare too. Brady got Belichick and Dante Scarnecchia. That's rare too. But it'd be nice to have a somewhat functional environment. And I think it was more functional 4 or 5 years ago. I think it's just got increasingly dysfunctional.
So Gronk was a key component to the Patriots' success for 9 years, and while he and Belichick got along very well when he was in New England, there hasn't been much communication since. He said, I've always had a great relationship with Bill, but ever since I got to the Bucs, there hasn't been any contact.
Well, are we surprised? I don't think Gronk and Belichick are the same dude.
No, but so here's the thing, an absolute statement is what I pay attention to. To say we haven't talked as much, or he texts me for my birthday or something, but to not have any contact is something else altogether. Now, we know this is how Bill is, right?
Yes.
He's not a cuddly guy. He doesn't do the whole relationship thing. And the reason he's able to be so cutthroat in the way, or move on from players years earlier than most people think they should be moved on from, is because he operates this way. He operates this way with everybody. He did it with Tom, and clearly he's doing this with Gronk. It also might have something to do with the way that, Gronk retired, and then,
Gronk is, there's nobody less Belichick than Gronk. This is the one.
True.
There are certain people that leave the party, and it's just you're not going to ever connect again. You went to college with some people that were in your group.
You guys had a great time, and but it's moving forward, we're probably going to have different paths in life. And that's fine. Life is about experiences.
That's right.
I don't think that Gronk has any grudges about it, and Bill probably doesn't either. All I know is whenever the Last Dance version of the Patriots comes out in 20 years from now, that's going to be some must-see television.
Yep, Joy with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
threw 3 interceptions in consecutive drives on the road at Lambeau. And